Welcome everyone who's here tonight and anybody who might be watching this after the fact. My name is Seema Raza. I'm the CEO of Community Building Artworks. We're an arts organization that got our start in the military healthcare system at Walter Reed Army Medical Center, then Walter Reed National Military Medical Center, and Fort Belvoir Community Hospital, where we learned how essential community is in the recovery from both emotional and physical injury. And that at the heart of community is communication. At the heart of communication is knowing what it is that you contain. And writing and art are the best tools that we know of for both figuring out what we contain and communicating it to the people around us. And that's what we try to do. Find ways to let people know who we are by being really, really honest in our art. And one of the most essential parts of this practice has always been from the very, very start. I'm not a therapist, I'm an artist. And I have called upon my friends who are artists, both in person. Many, many people have traveled from all over the country to come in person to Walter Reed or Fort Belvoir for me, sleep on my couch, the whole deal. And through the written or performed via video word. I think one of the best ways to access our own most pinnacle stores of excellence is to write and create in the shadow of excellent, excellent work. And so that has been absolutely essential for anybody who's been part of our programs, has been exposure to really, really, really great work. That's the first thing, right? And then creating in the shadow of that. And so we're really, really excited tonight to bring you some really extraordinary work that I hope will feed your soul, will inspire you to think differently about your own story, about the kinds of things that you want to create. It is the solstice, the longest day, equal longest day, longest night, right? Of the year. And I feel especially excited about the opportunity to mark these kinds of occasions that we didn't make up, right? Like there's a lot of shit we make up, which is great. Like I'm all for making things up, but then there are these natural things that occur that I think television and the mall would have us ignore. And so it's really exciting to mark them with ceremony, with ritual, with powerful words, and with gathering. So I'm grateful to everyone who is here as an audience member, and I am so grateful to this extraordinary group of readers that we are going to have the pleasure of hearing from. And eternal gratitude to my not identical visually twin, Hari Alluri, who is going to be hosting us and guiding us through this beautiful evening. Please do use that chat for affirmation. That's what it's there for. If a line sticks out to you, call it back. This is what we have. Do stay muted though. I have to say this one thing, which is you don't have to not be an asshole, but you can't be an asshole here. We will remove you if you are. You have the power to message other people because community is, both public and private. But do let us know if something's going awry. We have no problem ejecting people. So without further ado, here's Hari. Thank you for being here, Hari.
Thank you, Seema, for bringing us in such a good way. I just want to shout out both Ashi and Seema. When I got the invitation to participate in this, my only question was like, do I already have something promised? And the second I know that I didn't, I was absolutely here. Just gonna speak the names of the readers who you will get to hear today in this order. Laura Joyce-Hubbard, Sunu Chandy, Arthur Kayzaykian, Sarah Herrin, Amber Flame. And with any luck, we'll have Seema come back around and close us out. I will very gratefully welcome you all to throw lines into the chat or just react to moments that call you. You know, one of the things I miss most about in-person readings is the like energy that you receive in the room. And one of the things I appreciate most about community building artworks, workshops, and events is that somehow we manage to have that energy still, often in the chat and in our reactions. So please offer those back to each other. Much appreciation. I'm gonna just begin by reading a really short poem dedicated to one Kat Norris. And I wanna just shout out that I think it's really important to carry our griefs and our joys at the same time because our bodies have to do so anyway. And so there's a little bit of grief here. There's a little bit of joy here at the same time. This is for Kat Norris. Damn, already a year, Kat? I can't. Look, if you knew Kat, you knew she stayed the throwdown queen. Chicana in LA, Hulkamanum all day long. Necklace and drum, earrings, knife, wise and fly as a chant she called when 5,000 mouths responded, lifted, climbing, echoes off downtown. If we mic rocked at Rhizome, Kat sung us in. Story, dream, and joke between, as in real. Kat with the boogie in her heels, give thanks if your feet were ever near to hers in step. OCM the dance floor because it made her smile. Give is how she do and cool at that. No mistake on it, pain in that voice too. Too many stolen sisters long the way. Ms. Norris, if you're nasty. Kat who gave goosebumps to the air when she hit that soul true note. Passed it on for the next generation's kids to reach. Wish I held her hand more. Wish she met my daughter Dala. Raised fist and open, gangster giggle. Held this land that if I didn't know Kat, I wouldn't know that even I am held by these mountains, these salish seas right here. Me and my foolishness, her sister, warrior, cousin, mother, grandma, elder, homie, Rani, crush Nangbayan, speak earth and city. Speak and we still hear you, Kat. Heart pulse to medicine, prayer smoke to sky. Without further ado, it is my joy to get to introduce Laura Joyce-Hubbard. She, her. Laura is an Air Force veteran and will be teaching for community building artworks in October. Laura Joyce-Hubbard's nonfiction and poetry appear or are forthcoming in Poetry, the Iowa Review, the Sewanee Review, and elsewhere. Recent awards include winner of the Iowa Review's 2022 Veteran Writing Award and the 2023 AWP Nonfiction Intro Journals Award. Check out more of her bio below in the chat. Get to those links and connect. And please welcome and listen warmly to Laura Joyce-Hubbard.
Thank you, Hari. That was beautiful. I love knowing Kat through your words. Usually I'm writing about my military experience, but thank God I have one love poem because all of that other stuff doesn't feel very solstice-y. This poem is called Call Sign Mother, and all you need to know is call sign is a nickname. My beloved is a pilot as well. We flew the same plane, but we never lived on the same base. So call sign Mother. We clover-leafed into love, two pilots mutually attracted to hazard, to defying gravity, to the thrill of a bump on an airspeed dial, the push of the needle past Mach 1, meaning we broke the speed of sound. When I met you, you were cowboy. We looped skies, flew upside down, belted beneath our glass canopies. occupying a safe intimacy of distance. We burned fuel, always my eyes on the ejection handles. Hand grips raise, you'd say. Triggers squeeze, I'd reply. The bold-faced emergency procedure for how to escape if needed. You were talking strictly aerobatic and sex. Then one day you leave debrief like a bullet train. Fly your long bed forward past dry West Texas cotton fields, red dust pluming behind you like contrails, returning home to feed a quartet of new sprung rabbits. Abandoned, you think, in alfalfa grass, found like a ball of recovered yarn, tucked into the corner of an old shoebox stuffed with socks. The rabbits know your call sign has changed. Now everyone calls you mother. In my squad, they call me mother too. You've called the vet, shopped for 3 types of milk, condensed, raw, and goat. Eyedropper in your right hand, rabbit in left, 5 feedings a day keep them alive. You beat the dawn. By noon, you're back in bed at the rabbit's side. Sprawled out, spent. You fade to nap as sunlit light warms the room. Sated, content, fatigue has won. And one by one, they crawl inside your flight suit leg, burrow for warmth. There is so much power in your hands, holding throttles, flying 3 feet from another jet's wings, bearing the weight of G's, rolling upside down in aileron rolls. Your jet's talon wings like a knife, slicing the slipstream with afterburner thrust, raw. We're long distance. We talk by phone from different homes and live on separate bases. They die at night, you say, hoping one will make a fool of odds, disprove the vet. You wake more often now, 1 a.m., 3 a.m. A rabbit can startle itself to death, you say, a fact I didn't know. You pray when drops of milk are all you have to keep the chubby one alive for one more day. And that is when I think, I will, I vow, marry you, yes. Now you hold the spade in your left hand, rabbit in your right, and dig a little red clay away, a 4th small grave in the backyard near the Bigelow Oak. 2 pilots, 2 mothers, breath joined, unaware of the course ahead. A rehearsal for absences yet to come. We sojourn through the night. Thank you.
A rehearsal for absences yet to come. Please keep it moving for Laura Joyce-Hubbard, everybody. Check the links to get connected to her work. Sunu Chandy, she, her, is a social justice activist through her work as a poet and a civil rights attorney. She's a queer woman of color and lives in Washington, D.C. with her family. Her collection of poems, My Dear Comrades, was selected for the 2021 Terry J. Cox Prize and published by Regal House in March 2023. Sunu will be teaching for community building artworks in September. Check out the rest of her bio in the chat. Check out her book, and please be warm and listening for Sunu Chandy.
Hi, everyone. Thank you so much for having me. I was inspired by Laura to also read the one love poem in my book. Actually, there's a shorter, so I'll see if I can read a couple of them, but I'm going to start with the love poem. And this came from a prompt, which was write an ode to something weird, which is a prompt that I love, and y'all should do it. Ode to the broken printer, 3 printers ago. It's almost like they need names. The broken printer from when we lived in the Argonne, the broken printer from the apartment by Ginger's in Park Slope, the newly broken printer just bought during the global pandemic, the broken printer from East Flatbush, and this one from the Fort Greene studio. E likes to repair things. She is pro-composting and anti-landfills, and when something breaks, she keeps it just to see what can be done. With a reluctant nod to her values, I had kept this broken printer much longer than planned. When she came over one evening, I said I was done. She had 1 evening to fix that printer. In my studio apartment with a 3-year-old, we had no space for such broken things. 1 week before, our friend had stayed overnight with our daughter. We enjoyed our first weekend away after becoming parents. E had told my parents long ago that she planned to marry me. I was utterly lost at why I hadn't come back from the North Fork of Long Island an engaged person, and that did not help my mood and increased the pitch that the broken printer had to go. I gave her one last chance and fell asleep on the couch. 1 hour later, she wheeled over on her office chair and woke me up. In jagged lines going all over the page, complete with messed up lettering and too light toner, printed over and over on the page, there it was, her repeated test print. Will you marry me? Yeah, that's it. That's it for the love poems. I'll read a couple more. Thank you. A couple more just short pieces. The second one is called Sleet. Yeah, there was a lot of talk about the weather and the solstice, and poets love the weather and the moon and all that. So in that vein, this one is called Sleet. Sleet. Sleet occurs when snowflakes falling through a small layer of warm air in the atmosphere begin to melt. The melting snowflakes then refreeze when they pass into a layer of colder, freezing air. The weatherman said sleet is usually a transition moment in the weather. It just holds the place between snow and rain. But today, the sleet has lasted all day long. I walk home in the Friday evening sleet, painful and unrelenting. There was nothing transitional about it. And this is how it feels with my family. Stuck in this land between acceptance and rejection, a moment that should have been transitional, but instead decades of sleet. Not disowning me, but not quite allowing me in either. One day everyone is warm and laughing, and the next it's as if 5 separate conversations never took place. The conversations become so slippery that sometimes I must stop calling them altogether. Until the next pretty and deceptive email. Look, we won marriage. My father tells others he has no biblical or theological issue with his daughter being gay. It's just he wished she was married to a man and had a couple of kids. One day it's the lovely snowflake of how's she doing and even singing songs at our wedding. And the next it's the painful hailstorm of no pictures on their mantle. And yet, how can I possibly leave them for good when I am still thrown something so promising every 11th conversation? Thank you, friends. And I'm gonna actually, there were so many things on my mind as I was thinking about what to read. Today I was at the Congress for the introduction of the Equality Act, which would give federal protections to LGBTQ folks. And so there's a poem called Taxi Driver Brother Man, which is about, sort of discrimination and being kicked out of a taxi in New York City. And that poem was at this link from yesterday. It's sort of featuring DC Pride poems, DC poets, and there's a poem a day, so you can check that out later. And I'll just close with a last poem. A lot of the poems in my book relate to, actually not a lot, a third or so, my journey to being a parent. And our child is in middle school and she's 13. And this is just a poem from when she was a toddler. Teaching my daughter to recap the toddler toothpaste. Don't push hard. Don't push hard. Don't push so hard. No need to press it so. Just place it gently on top. Let it settle into its place. And only then, gently twist. Not that way. Not that way. The other way. Try one way. Try one way. If it doesn't work, just stop. Stop. Stop completely. Then try another way. Trust me. Trust me. You will know when it is time to stop turning. Thank you, Seema, Ashi, Hari, and everyone involved in this. This is really such an honor to be here with all of you. Thank you.
Thank you, Sunu. That last one just kind of like is sitting with me right now. That actually full stop and try the other way, sitting with me. I'm having a good time, y'all. I feel so lucky. So lucky. And to introduce a dear friend who, like, we've been writing poems together since like around 2014. And to witness the, like, in the community building artworks workshops, some of the poems that are in this book that's arrived now be formed and like send us through planetary transformation. Arthur Kayzaykian is the winner of the 2021 inaugural Black Lawrence Immigrant Writing Series for his collection, The Book of Redacted Paintings, which is also selected as a finalist for the 2021 Philip Levine Prize for Poetry. Check more in the chat, which Ashi is like so on point with. He's a longtime community building artworks participant, and I am super grateful to be introducing Arthur right now. Be loud with your fingers and be ready, because he turns corners quick. Arthur Kayzaykian, y'all.
Thank you, Hari, and I love you, man. Been an honor to be a friend through this process and to write with you and to turn those corners together. And thank you, Seema. These workshops, CBAW is amazing. It really saved me during the pandemic to have a home outside of these walls internationally with writers from DC, writers from everywhere in the world. And I'll continue and always to cheerlead for CBAW at any time, always. I tell my friends about it. Okay, so in conversation with Laura and Sunu, I'm gonna start with a love poem, and then I will I'll just read, and then so these are like love and then self-love, all that. Okay, so this is from the Book of Redacted Paintings. It's called Melinda. The first time I saw death, we locked lips under the flicker of lights in a dim-walled hallway. The time a stone gutted my father's liver. There was a song on the radio that carried him all the way to the hospital. Your tongue swirled in my mouth, and the blood from the upper left valve of my heart pumped violently like a small, terrible sun. And the news held the image of a burglar climbing through a half-shut window. The reporter said the river in his step had been sleek, but his posture had drifted. Then you asked, "How many paintings do you have?" And I remembered my mother running back, hair jumped with fire. I don't think terror should be an option before a boy turns 9. And this next poem is called I Sang. And here's the book, y'all. All right. It's a little shameless plug right there. All right. I sang. I sang numbers. I'm gonna start over. Hold on. I sang numbers. From numbers, I sang. I sang from numbers. And in my file, I sang from numbers. From numbers, I file my sang. When I file my sang, there were numbers in my name. And numbers sang my file. My name is sang, and my file is numbers. But my numbers file with war. I sang my war from numbers, while I file my name. And when I sang and sang and sang, I sang my war name from numbers in my file. And this final poem is a self-love poem. And one of the, I call them one of the pillars of the book, because they're you'll see. It's called Questions, Truth, and Lies on Art Trauma. So some of this is truth, some of these I made up, and some of them are just flat out trauma, right? But okay, I'm just gonna read this. All right. The earth has worn down the great Sphinx of Giza. Experts say acid rain has accelerated its deterioration. They predict the mythical head will melt into a limited collection of necklaces hung around the important necks of tourists who live in a solipsistic area. Does the absence of a poem on a wall make you simmer? Do you think about the burning houses in your head? In my family, nobody dreams. They argue over money. I remember one day the sound of a vase breaking on the floor outside my closed door. It was a fantastic day. The blue sky bordered the row of stores and everyone dressed in black. Has anyone ever painted you? When you make out with a bandit, you will taste the earth swirling in her mouth. You will tremble from the taste of her lips, tangerine, apple plum, the sing of sugar tinged on your face. You will taste the sweat above her clavicle and feel very small about what you know. You are more than the pendants you wear. You are more than the paintings you hang to please your guests. Have you ever felt so censored that you've seen your face on a milk carton in your dreams? I never really understood what irony meant until I read about 434 paintings destroyed in a tower fire. The tower was built to guard artwork against bomb shrapnel and ricochet during World War II. It wasn't the war that burned these paintings. Ekphrasis may be the translation of artwork to poems, but the best translation of darkness is a victory flag. Is your self-portrait missing the person in it? Did that person tap you on the shoulder and say, the best version of time travel is watercolors? The priests who, with rings on their knuckles, backhanded me in second grade, pressed their myths about God. I say, not fuck God, but fuck the men who made him. In a half-complicated journal of some unknown poet, the war we face is one of double exile. Hair on the chest, hair we hide, track suit, light skin, large bouldered nose, slouch in our walk, a unibrow that underscores our forehead. Did the mirror on the wall grow jealous of your sadness and confess, I wish you held me that way? Thank you.
Did the mirror on the wall grow jealous of your sadness and confess, I wish you held me that way? Arthur Kayzaykian, y'all. Links in the chat. Find the work. Get to it. I'm so lucky. Seema and Ashi, I just want to in the middle of this, give you a shout out. Thank you for having me get to do this. You just sit there sometimes and feel how lucky you are. And lucky to introduce a longtime community building artworks participant, Sarah Herrin. They, them is a queer non-binary poet based in Colorado. They're the author of 3 chapbooks, including 1,000 Good Answers and The Oceanography of Her. Sarah is owner and editor of Beyond the Veil Press, and you can learn more in the chat. Please be loud in your listening for Sarah.
Hey everyone, thank you so much for being here. I'm reading from my chapbook, Anti-Muse. So it's a few anti-love poems, and then I'll read one new poem that I wrote in one of our workshops. The first poem is Of Wonder or Ruin. A group of foxes is called Skulk. Follow fragrant stained memories down into the limestone quarry dark, eyes like embers, skin like winter, echoing, past, present, future, fast forward, breathless, reckless, summoning, banishing, hunting, running, waking, dreaming, repeating. A group of foxes is called Leash. This mischievous masquerade flows through rivers of time, untwines the fetters of fate, of gold or rust, of wonders or ruin. A group of foxes is called Earth. Even when we stumble over cobblestones, fantasy, reality, balance shift, and gravity unravels at our fingertips, a group of foxes is called Charm. This book has artwork to match a lot of the poems that my art school buddy and I created together. Since it was a pandemic release, we are going to re-release next year and do the whole thing again. And I'll add some new poems to it too. This one is called He is the Wound That Never Heals. I keep pouring love over the wound that never heals. Shapeshifter, soothsayer, honey-tongued charlatan, black magic roses wild and unfurled after a dark storm. Open jaws at open wound. Love keeps pouring in. Pain keeps spilling out. Witchcraft, foxglove, wolfsbane, shame. Gentle stem bending. Here, lover, here. My swan throat. And this will be my third one that has been heavily edited after printing. So I'm looking forward to updating a lot of them. This one is called I Tied Our Love to a Chair in the Basement. And she just licks her bloody lips, smiles to the pleasure pain. She's been caught before, and she always escapes. Oh, Billy the Kid, oh, Bonnie and Clyde. Tears track down her dirty face. She'd rather fight than die. This unholy love, this saintless sacrifice, deep down is made of molten flame, forest fire, phoenix plume. I know she sees the silvery sheen, blade grinning in the moonlight. I know she knows. This time, I can't let her go. Black smoke billows up to the ceiling and out onyx windows. Somehow, I am still standing, splintered sky peppered with holes. This one is with a new manuscript about grief and living with PTSD. So a lot of it is really focused on the body. This one is an after poem after Kristen Shu-Ying Chen, and I borrowed the line, "If your body breaks into waves." If your body breaks into waves, let it crash onto the shore of yourself. Let it shatter pastel shells, abandoned houses sparkle in the winter sun. In your body, there is so much life, even when you are dying of thirst, even when you are lost in foreign ocean, sinking down into the Mariana Trench in your body. There is a chasm cut so deep into the mantle, thought you'd never heal. Smashed bottle after bottle of unread messages, lost in translation from body to brain to body. If your body breaks into waves, let it soothe all the glass in your veins, temper fragile shards into brilliant shades, cerulean, amber, sapphire. Let it curl in on yourself, crescent-shaped, salted wounds, frothing with rage even in moonlight. Let it flicker on the surface of yourself, dripping with moon gold. Let your body, with its infinite grains of grit, shape bleeding nacre into glistening pearl. Thank you so much.
Wonderful, Sarah. Thank you. There is so much life even when you are dying of thirst. Our final reader for the evening, Amber Flame, is a longtime community building artwork supporter, has facilitated a workshop, contributed to our book club conversations, and will be teaching again in December. A Flame is an interdisciplinary artist, writer, activist, and educator whose work has garnered residencies with Hedgebrook, Vermont Studio Center, and more. Flame's second book of poetry, Apocrypha, launched May 2023 from Red Hand Press. Please give it up and connect to Amber Flame.
Thank you. Thank you so much, Hari. Wow, Sarah, I'm still on some of those lines. Salty wounds, like thinking of body breaking like waves, salted wounds, sea salt. It's, yeah. Thank you for that journey. Thank you all. It's wonderful to, I'm going to read some love poems because that's what my book is. It's a love story. Apocrypha is, you know, sometimes you get precious. And I was precious about this. I really, I wrote it to be a spell. I wrote it to be proof that I could really write. I'm a self-taught, community-taught writer. And so I was like, I can do all the fancy things. And I say about it that I, you know, had to give myself an MFA in formal poetry, essentially, and like etymological research to really write this book. So I'm very proud of it. It just came out. If you're in the DC area, you should join me and Sunu at Busboys and Poets on Monday, the 17th in July. If you're in the Baltimore area, you should join me and Sunu and Reggie Kaviko at Red Emma's on the 15th of July. I'm coming to the East Coast and I'll be back, but I'm really excited to bring some of what I played with in this book to my workshop. It's all tied to me being a blues singer. Music was my first love. And so I use contrapuntal poetry in the book as a call and response between a lover and their beloved. It's a non-gendered love story. It's really supposed to be read from beginning to end like a story because there's two characters and what happens to them. And because I am in being my own beloved and building my house, literally my body and my home for myself, and reclaiming from heartbreak, reclaiming from grief, coming out of a grief fog. I'm going to read the beloved side, and I'm going to give you a taste of how the beloved moves through this book. But first, I'm going to begin with the invocation. Dear reader, that's you today. Thank you all for being here. This, a spell for you. If you've been lonely or broken, if you've longed for love that did not make you afraid to be whole, if you've longed to be free and longed to be home, if you've ever made yourself a home for love or a perch from which love flies. Dear reader, may this book be a sacred vow you intend for only true love's ear to hear. So the titles of the poems are words in other languages that don't have direct translations. So I took some poetic license with them. The first one I'm going to read is our introduction to the beloved. Voorpret, a Dutch noun. 1, physical excitement in anticipation of fun or pleasure. 2, the first sweet awareness. This is an elegy for solitude. Once sure of everything, a youngling, a ripe plucking, eaten before fruit rotted, letting juice wander of its own will. When my ache finds me, I am perpetually sticky, drawing bees, certain the cycle of droop of all things fertile, sure consumption is the way to reap a harvest. What I like about it is even though they go through their drama, as my friend said, these are not poems to make you sad. So I've been like trying to embrace in like this shitfire world, putting out a book that's like love and beauty and being like single and it being Pride Month and being like, okay, how long is celibacy gonna last? You know, those kind of questions that come up every now and then. Yeah, and just realizing like there's this whole surrender to what is joyous, what can be joyous. There's some joy even in the morning, and then things start manifesting. I really believe that. So I've started to think about how I'm lucky. Quatern premonition. I think about this poem a lot because this is what I'm trying to do for myself. Here is a home I built myself, the foundation strong, unmoving, soil familiar as my skin. All paths lead me back here. Solitude, my own well-worn cloak. Here's a home I built myself to toil for and rest within, a haven, a completed pride. To make friends of moist morning grass, the hearth fire, and rising bread loaf. I am baking bread, bitch. I don't know why I put that in there, because, you know, here is a home I built myself. Nothing lacking, no need to roam. For company, all life outside my door beckons wonder and awe. I am surfeit, calm content in knowing here is the home I built myself. Imagine taking all that time to build a home and then, you know, you meet somebody and you get shaken, you get shook. Ugh, I don't know that I'm ready. I was like, maybe I need to stay in this home I built myself. Because then, you know, then they make you question. This is Sistina intention. What is it I can offer? A bed for your bones, a refuge, warm. Does it matter if you will not rest, if you prefer empty? My house is never an empty cup. Desire this host's offer, a place of sustenance, rest, and my delight in your very bones. A place where you matter and our bed is always warm. Now you grow lukewarm. A promise emptied is no laughing matter. What then will you offer to reflesh my bones, to resolve this unrest? Where is the rest of you when I come to warm each one of my bones in a hearth now empty of every flame you offered? Tell me I still matter. Do I still matter? Will I be left the rest, the remains of an offering, you a warm regard replaced with empty belly, with skin and bones? Can I forget how trace bones were all that mattered, not the plates we left empty or the bed we fell into, restless and fevered, you warm and I always an always open offer. Return. Offer me back your bones. Warm to me again. You are the matter of all my rest. You fill my empty home. So this book is really, if anything, about hope. I have 2 more short poems for you. And we turn to joy, because after all, is that okay? 2 more short poems, is that all right? Okay, see Seema going, all right. This is the sonnet. You know how hard it is to write a sonnet? I'm just gonna take a moment. We're gonna do it. We're gonna like lose our fear of writing a sonnet if you wanna come and check out this class, because I think when you remember that it's all like a song, there's something to lean into. So I found some joy and like, yeah, that's right. That was a sestina. Did you hear? Did you hear? It was a sestina. Like that's the title on the sonnet. So in case you miss it, I wrote a sonnet. This is the one that I'm very proud of after lots of attempts, which is like the majority of the work of being a writer. Yes, is attempting. So sonnet. Inhalation. Today, the dead thing on the forest path, as I walked to the tree where we first met, did not immediately bring regret, did not burn through my empty chest as wrath. It was, after all, a thing whose time passed. Who mourns each night because the sun has set? I know bones and flesh are simply the debt the earth always comes to collect at last. And here it was. All the sweetness, greening. I relearned how to breathe in deep relief, a world that continues even through grief, even through what seems to have lost meaning. As I walked, I saw nothing that stays dead, just stasis, bud, blossom, fruit, repeated. And then we're going to end with a slightly sexy ode. And we're going to invoke good booty. Yes, that's the invocation for today. May you all be blessed with the kind of physical lavishment you desire most. Happy Pride. Ode, invocation. Be it fevered hope or of temporal stuff, do not lure me from my lover's side. Oh, do not keep from me the curving ridge and plane of ratchet and shoulder blade. Let me tarry here. Exquisite dip of hip bone and argle of thigh. Argle means clay. Imagine like the clay of a thigh. Okay. Exquisite dip of hip bone and argle of thigh. Let me chart paths of this flesh, all hill and hollow, this flesh. Let me sink and surface. Let me linger. Let me hold fast. Thank you.
Thank you, Amber Flame. Oof, I'm shook. I'm definitely shook. Thank you to all the readers. I'm going to read their names, and then I'm going to offer something small back, just like from the chat, as I do sometimes. A little cento gathering lines that you already gathered, folks. and offering them back to the readers. So in reverse order, Amber Flame, Sarah Herrin, Arthur Kayzaykian, Sunu Chandy, Laura Joyce-Hubbard. Yes, what a wonderful night of readings. Let me sink and surface, chart paths of this flesh. Invoke good booty. I saw nothing that stays dead. The debt the earth always comes to collect. Tell them what you did. You are the matter of all my rest. A promise emptied is no laughing matter. This is what I'm trying to do for myself. A way to reap harvest, perpetually sticky, juice wander of its own will, perch from which love flies. I wrote it to be a spell. I wrote it to be a spell. Gorgeous rage, even in moonlight, dripping with moon gold, temper fragile, bottle after bottle of unread messages, somehow still standing, splintered sky, peppered with holes. Smiles to the pleasure pain, shapeshifter, soothsayer, honey-tongued, the art, amazing, breathless, reckless, anti-muse. Legend. Is your self-portrait the missing? Is missing the person in it? The best translation of darkness isn't the war what burned these poems, paintings to please your guests, the sing of sugar tinged on your face, everyone dressed in black, the sky melt into a limited collection of necklaces. The river in his step had been sleek, time a stone gutted. Trust me, gently twist, not that way. Intermittent, the painful hailstorm of no pictures on the mantelpiece. Pretty, deceptive, should have been transitional. It just holds the place between. In jagged lines going all over the page. Will you marry me? One evening, no space for broken things. A rehearsal for future absences. Beautiful, incredible, a rabbit can startle itself, hoping one will make a fool of odds inside your flight suit leg, burrow for warmth, strictly acrobatics and sex. Thank you all so much. I just needed to offer that back to you. And if we are lucky, we might be able to have Seema join us in a second. I just want to shout out that right after this directly, you don't have to go anywhere or do anything to have it happen. You can stay online for an open art session with Sean Smith. There's also going to be a link dropped in with a full schedule of events. Before I pass it back to Seema, shout out to Ashley for holding us down in all the ways, putting this together, communicating with all the readers and with myself and with Seema and with y'all. Big shout out for Ashley. Big thank you to all the readers. Please scroll back through the chat, not just to revisit the moments that moved us, but also to find those links to their books and to their work and to their upcoming workshops where you can connect with these folks again. I am so lucky. Happy Pride, happy Solstice, honoring Juneteenth and recognition of Indigenous peoples right here and everywhere on earth. Seema Reza, please and thank you.
Thank you, Hari, for and all of you. Honestly, you said everything that I could say, but better. And yet, I want to say that I'm reminded, especially by this reading this evening and how everyone leaned in to love and joy, that there is room for beauty. To Hari's point, to Amber Flame's point, there's joy in the morning, there are spells to be written. Sometimes the thing we most have to do is make space for the light when it's not there. The darkness will find us, but my goodness, to show up, to open the blinds, to lay out the mirrors, to make the light reflect and multiply. Today is the day the universe offers us light, but on all other days we must invoke it. May we attempt, may we reach for a love poem, even when we're not sure we have it in us. May we invoke good booty. I will forever be saying, may we invoke good booty. May we invoke good poems, good friends, any kind of sonnet counts, and pride in whoever the fuck we are, whoever the fuck we are becoming. Thank you all for being a part of this community, this evening, this weird, weird world. Thank you again to each and every one of the readers for lending your talents. Check out their workshops. Hari Alluri, I don't know what I would have done these years without you. It is such an honor to continue to create with you. And everyone knows that Ashi Paliparamble is the wizard behind the damn curtain. This is what poetry is for. May we never forget, even as we try to publish and be a part of whatever capitalism wants us to be a part of, this is what poetry is for. Thank you all for being here tonight.
Being able to look at somebody else's journey and being able to understand it and being able to relate to that is so, so beautiful.
Doesn't matter how long you've been there or how long you've been away, you still feel a part of that family. And they make you feel like you can always come back. And I appreciate that.
People within CBAW and then also members that come and write, reach out to me often and just, how you doing? You okay? It means everything.